On November 22nd, 1990, 8-year-old Laura Emily Robes went missing overnight from her mother's home after Laura claimed she saw her name on the TV and hasn't been seen since. Where is she? All signs point to one place, Giggleland. This is Joel Gaming, let's get into it. Giggleland is an upcoming psychological horror game on Steam that's been making waves for its crazy arc that's creating quite the trail of mysteries before the game's even out yet. Today I wanted to go over what we know so far and what we can look forward to when the game fully releases. A few things before we get started. I just want to say all credit goes to the hard work of everyone on the Giggleland subreddit, the Giggleland Discord, including at Aurora, for compiling an official documentation log that we're going to take a look at today. I also want to say that none of the events described by this game are real, even though they seem have some parts that are pretty realistic. What we're about to take a look at is purely for entertainment purposes and just to build the story of the game. So beginning with the game's official trailer on January 2nd, 2025, the ads for the official trailer began releasing on Steam and on YouTube. And in the trailer, you can see it looks pretty normal for the most part. We have two characters describing the theme park of Giggleland, what to expect and rules to follow when in the park, but as the trailer goes on, we can start to see things get a little bit more twisted. At first, the rules are like, don't go into staff-only entrances, make sure you're tall enough to ride the rides, but as the video goes on, some of the rules start to be turned into, there's hazards, find an exit sign, don't be afraid of us.
Elliot, what's going on? Don't be afraid. There's no reason to fear us.
Why should we be afraid? And many more twisted rules that begin to highlight the horrific aspects of what seems to be an innocent game at first. The final rule in the video tells us not to close our eyes or we'll miss the best part before the video begins distorting and ends by letting us know that the game will be released at some point in the future. Now, although there's nothing crazy, at least from, beyond what we already saw in the video in terms of like hidden messages, we can find in the video's description a binary code that, when translated, brings us to an invite for the game's official Discord. Over time, people on the Discord began trying to find if there's more websites or where to find more information, and one user named FaceMelter9000 found the website giggle.land can reveal a lot more about the game's story. Now, at first, the game's website isn't really a whole lot to look at. It's kind of just like an index of like different assets and like different pages, HTML links, but as we begin clicking on different parts, we can find one section of the website called bugreport.txt where we can find an error message that reads the following. If we're to decode this message using base 64, we can find that the message reads out a single word, Sarah. This will be a clue that'll come in handy for later. Meanwhile, we can go back to Giggleland's website and find a missing persons report. Interestingly, the person who actually went missing is different from Sarah, with her name being Laura Emily Robes, and we can find some of the names of people close to her, including her mom, her dad who's been accused of abusing her, and also different professionals she's come in contact with, like therapists she's had in the past and like the police officers making the initial report. In addition to this missing persons report, on another section of the website where we can contact the creators for Kids Media Workshop, the company behind the website, one email is provided, joshkmw@gmail.com, where if we reach out to this website, where some people have already, they get the following message. I am currently out of the office and unavailable to respond at this time. I'll review your message and get back to you as soon as possible upon our return. Thank you for understanding. Using the attached website in his email signature, we can continue our investigation as we go to the Kids Media Workshop website. On this website, we kind of get into a time machine a little bit and seeing a pretty old, outdated website where we can find a few different things. One thing to note is that Kids Media Workshop was founded in 1990, the same year that Laura Emily went missing from her mother's home. We can also find that on this website there's a visitor counter that every time the page is refreshed, it goes down by 1, and so it didn't take people very long to auto-refresh the page until it went to 0, in which it gives us another encrypted message that, when decrypted, brings us to the same missing persons report, suggesting that these two sources are connected to a much larger picture. Throughout the website, namely on the privacy policy page of Kids Media Workshop, we can find reference to Eric Erickson and some of his work, suggesting that there may be some connection between Laura Emily's disappearance and some of his themes, in which ones of note include his work on development in which identity crises are resolved. Now, so far we've seen through different websites there's been different messages and encrypted codes that we've been able to decipher, but things are about to get a little bit weirder. On the Kids Media Workshop website, on the About Me page, we can find that the founder of Kids Media Workshop, Terry, links a message that's odd on how different words are capitalized. By taking the capitalized letters, we can begin to spell out a list of strings that'll come in handy later. Bizarrely, we can also find on the Kids Media Workshop website a page that links to a single white page that says red, blue, plus green, and nothing else. As more discoveries are made, one was found that on the Giggleland Steam page, there's an odd-looking name for a developer listed as a contributor. It didn't take people long to find out that this was part of the URL to a YouTube video, and by putting it in, we were brought to an unlisted video called Elliot Ella Episode 3, 2010.
Wow! I didn't realize there were so many weeds!
The video, much like the original Giggleland trailer, appears pretty innocent at first as Elliot is drawing and is asked for help by Ella to pull weeds from the garden. It isn't long before bullies come by and begin to harass Elliot for his drawings and depicting himself as the head of a theme park.
Hey, that's mine!
Much like the trailer, it begins to take a dark turn as the video begins to distort and some of the bullies try to run for their lives. It isn't long before the video ends and things return to normal before we see that the bullies' bodies are buried in the backyard as Elliot talks with some unknown parental figure that talks in the Peanuts voice from Charlie Brown before the trailer ends. Much like the other trailer, the video's description contains a binary code that when translated, translates into visit our website for more fun, trying to connect more of these mysteries together. It's now at this point that people on the Discord began connecting some of these more loose pieces together in terms of like creating a more cohesive narrative and finding secrets that went undiscovered into previous days. The first of these discoveries include going back to the missing persons report from days prior. By going into the report, there was a hidden file that by entering Sarah, followed by the case number on top of the report, we can unlock the password-protected file and find a file called missing.wave. This file is pretty disturbing, so give it a listen.
Happy birthday to our dear... We really wanted to celebrate your special day with you. It's a shame your mother took you away before the show started. It would have been so much fun. We would have invited all your friends for cake and games. Imagine all the presents you'd have. Maybe when you're older we can find each other. We'll give you a gift you'll never forget. We love you. Happy birthday.
And looking at the file, the spectrogram isn't really a whole lot to look at once we're taking a peep at it. However, thanks to the hard work of Taimus, pansr, and CatGamer23 on the Discord, we were able to find out that the spectrogram actually can reveal a cubic 6x6 pattern that can allow us to make sense of some of the strings from earlier. Taking the capitalized letters we found in the founder's message from the Kids Media Workshop website, we can plug it into the 6x6 grid in which separate letters are decoded and we find the word crying is produced. Strangely, when we take this word crying and put it at the end of the Kids Media Workshop URL, it brings us to a page that says, "Congratulations, you found the key, but what does it open?" As a singular box spins around slowly on our screen. Before long, the box opens up and a picture of Eric Erickson pops out, and this seems to be our key for some other puzzle going forward. Adding onto this key, there's a certain part of the Kids Media Workshop website you can find a secret treasure map. Going onto this page, we get a pop-up that says in big letters, "Download now." Almost like a virus trying to get us to download something. But beyond just trying to infect our computer, it lets us know that the secret treasure map has been discovered and then we can click the website link in order to uncover Captain Bolster's hidden treasure. Clicking on the download link, we download a singular file called treasuremap.rar where, once unpacked, it contains 3 separate folders that contain images in folders labeled red, blue, and green. Compiling all the images together, we get this, which by itself isn't a whole lot to look at. However, following hints from Giggleland posted on their Discord, we can begin to find out that this map actually applies to some of Eric Erickson's work, namely his books, where some users took it upon themselves to go to his bibliography, where we can reference certain books that can also be found on Giggleland's official website. Specifically, one of his books, named Childhood and Society, is referenced on one of the pages on Giggleland's website after clicking one of the spinning stars on the website's main page. It takes us to a mostly blank page that depicts the phases for which children crying reach out to their caregivers, and a eerie line down below that says, "A baby left to cry it out will eventually stop crying, but it won't be because distress has been eliminated, but rather the baby learns that there is no longer any hope." Kind of spooky, right? And to add on to it, we can take this rather creepy message, and thanks to some of the hard work of SirCorneliusJ on Discord, we found out that by taking the page numbers of this book and corresponding them with the names of the files in the treasure map RAR that also have numbers, we can begin to spell out 3 separate messages depending on the different colors that line up with the book's pages. Using the previous clue of red, blue, plus green on one of the Kids Media Workshop's earlier pages, we discovered that the string was encrypted using a key derivative function in which we use the word crying as the key to unlock it. It gives us a YouTube link. Shout out to TrueHeads on the Giggleland Discord for finding this out, because I have no idea at this point how they're putting these different pieces together. Although beyond my comprehension, their hard work allows us to find another YouTube video called The Second Hijack in 2010. In the video, we can hear what appears to be Ella's voice, slightly distorted and echoing the video that we found earlier.
You won't actually pull the root out. You need to be careful.
Before long, her voice cuts out, and in the video's transcript, it says the following. She speaks to herself. Alone she begins to stand, reaching for her hand. She begs for some light. Answers. That is all that she wants. Her travels are only just tumbles. She who speaks, 06. It isn't long after that the Giggleland Twitter begins tweeting these cryptic messages in which they reference tumbling and she who speaks, trying to nudge us toward a further clue. Following some back and forth with the Giggleland Discord account and trying to get more hints, it isn't long before contributors on the Giggleland Discord find that, bizarrely enough, also on the r/weird subreddit, that these images begin to pop up in a Tumblr blog of a girl who seems to be trapped in her house. Visiting the blog, we can see that the name of the page is the exact same as what was mentioned in the transcript of the unlisted video we found from earlier. The blog contains posts of this girl named Sarah trying to uncover some secret hidden by her mother, finding a USB with hidden images including these pictures of what appears to be children's storybooks and drawings that correspond with the Giggleland game and story. Sarah also makes mention of something described as a commune, in which she said that she wonders if her dad is still in there and that her mom doesn't like to talk about either her experience in the commune or whether her dad is still out there. Currently, some users on Discord are in contact with Sarah who ask her questions, trying to reveal more of the game's story, but it seems kind of like this cat and mouse game where the person running the Sarah blog is only giving out so much information, trying to not provide too many hints into where to go from here. So what does this all mean? Frankly, I don't really know yet, but we'll get there. And in the meantime, I have a few ideas toward some themes that have appeared through the hints that we know so far, and a little bit of maybe how the story's looking so far. It's safe to say that something sinister is going on at Giggleland, and from what we've seen so far, it seems to involve themes of childhood trauma, finding identity exploration. It seems that some of the older adults are maybe part of this commune that was referenced earlier in some of what we found and are bringing more children into the commune. Interestingly, Laura Emily's therapist, Dr. Voltaire Nadir, can be found referenced throughout several of the puzzle elements found in the game so far, including the trailer with Elliot where he's pulling up the weeds.
No problem, Mr. T.
And on Kids Media Workshop's founder page where Terry, possibly a nickname for Voltaire, can be found describing what it had been like finding Kids Media Workshop and their message for the future. Adding another layer of complexity onto this, we can also find that on the Kids Media Workshop from parent testimonials, we can find a section where it references two children named Simon and Debbie, where at first glance this doesn't seem like much, but connecting it back to the Sarah Speaking blog, we can find two pictures on that reference how some of the people who worked on the animations that we watched earlier, such as the character artist Debbie Sampson and one of the writers Simon Sampson, starts to get into how some of the testimonials either may be fabricated or may have been from when these two people were children or now adults currently working on Kids Media Workshop.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you something. We don't care.
Either way, it suggests some sort of continuity in that maybe once you're in the commune, you're in for life, or once you're part of Kids Media Workshop, there is no getting out. Either way, putting it all together, it seems like part of the story with Giggleland is that we have to find what happened to Laura Emily and make sense of all these different pieces, including what is her mother's connection to Giggleland or Kids Media Workshop? How does her dad fit into the story? Have other children suffered a similar fate? How is the theme park implicated in all of this? As far as what's in the amusement park itself, from screenshots we've seen, pretty standard amusement park stuff with different mascots and rides, but I can't help but find that there's something maybe in a deeper layer of the theme park, and I think from the trailer we saw that Elliot kind of hinted at that too, for whether it be staff entrances or if you're not sure where you are, find the nearest exit if you feel there's a hazard. And I don't know, I just can't help but feel that we're going to find more than just rides and typical theme park stuff once we finally get a chance to play it. No matter what happens, I know one thing for sure. This game's going to be pretty crazy when it comes out. I love any type of ARG, any type of mystery that games create surrounding their story, and this game is already beginning to flesh out a pretty immersive narrative for a game that's not even out yet. Also, I find that ARGs and stories like these really bring gaming communities together in a very unique way, and I don't know, there's just a lot of love seeing from people on the Discord, people on the Giggleland subreddit, all coming together to share their own thoughts and contribute and kind of investigate the mystery in their own way. And I've had part of that heartwarming too, in terms of how supportive people are of each other, and all of our efforts are kind of pointed toward one direction and making sense of a game that is already building a steady sense of community. So because of how games like this really bring everyone together and create a lot of hype for common goal, I'm really excited for Giggleland. And I know recently on the Giggleland Discord they shared that more news is to come at the end of February, and so we can look forward to that as well. And so as we wrap up again, I want to thank everyone for their contributions and starting to put all these different pieces together. I tried doing a little bit on my own, but I think I only get so far to where I start scratching my head and saying, okay, where do we go from here?
What? We're flying to Philadelphia. Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no!
And so I really appreciate everyone putting so much hard work into connecting all the different pieces together and organizing everything so that everyone can enjoy the different mysteries included in this game. Similarly, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd like, subscribed, and shared this video with other people who may be interested. And also consider joining my Patreon and helping continue to support me make more videos and deliver content like this. The Council of Thumbs is steadily growing, and I'll make sure to include the members at the end of our video. Thank you for watching, stay tuned for future Giggleland content, and this has been Droll Gaming, signing off.